Hi, everyone. On the panel today, we have Paxton from Anthropic. We have Chao from Trae and Nicola from Replit. I guess let's start by Paxton. If you could do a quick introduction of yourself and also tell us when you're using AI to code, do you say I wrote the code or do you say Claude wrote the code?
Hi, everyone. It's great to be here on PAX Committee York. My journey to Anthropic has been a little bit nonlinear. I'm originally a biomedical engineer. I worked in surgical robotics for many years, building lung cancer systems, master's in data science, and then started a company that was doing AI for IVF. So we analyzed microscope images of human embryos to try to determine viability. I now am at Anthropic. I split my time between managing our relationships with top venture firms and their portfolios, which is really cool. I get to see all the really cool new use cases of AI. And then the other half of my time I spend on thinking about how Claude will hopefully help the healthcare sector and deliver better outcomes to patients. To answer your question, I typically say I collaborated with Claude. As a former founder and CEO, I was always trying to be very careful about saying I did anything because truthfully, I don't think I've done anything in my life on my own. I've always had incredible people to work with, incredible collaborators, and that's now shifting towards being myself and Claude working day to day. So it's been a very, very cool transition. We're very much encouraged at Anthropic to try to automate our entire job away with Claude, which has been a lot of fun to try to do. And so Claude and I are best friends, and we do a lot of work together.
Nicola, can you please give a quick intro of yourself, but also answer the question of, is coding truly available to anyone today?
Everyone, morning. Mikhail Katasta, I'm company president at Replit. I've been fixated on AI applied to software engineering for a decade at this point. I was close to Andrew. I was a researcher at Stanford for 4 years, started to work very early on transformers applied to code, and then all the way to Replit now, where I'm creating an agent that allows everyone to become a coder. To answer your question, I do think the short answer is yes. At this point, coding is accessible to everyone with a varying degree of success. And I think what makes this very different compared to other productivity tools in the past is the fact that if you take something like Excel, we trained all the knowledge workers in the world, more than 1 billion people to use it. There is only a shallow understanding of what that software can do, and then only very few people become power users and really know how to leverage the best out of Excel. If you go all the way to Replit Agent, what we do is we expose any level of complexity to our users because it is just one prompt away. They will try to build something trivial and the degree of success is extremely high, or they can go really down the rabbit hole and trying to build something very advanced and professional. And that's where our system is not only as powerful, but also it doesn't provide the right amount of guardrails to make every single person successful. So I think that's going to be the challenge for us, for the months and years to follow. But what makes this technology different is that in a few months, we went from almost not being able to make everyone a developer to exposing the entire amount of complexity in front of everyone. So we will open the waterfalls.
Thank you. Chao, could you also give an intro of yourself, but also talk about with AI-assisted coding, you could build so much these days. What keeps your GitHub repo or your GitHub activity green on the weekends?
Hi, my name is Chao, and I'm from the Trae team. So I joined ByteDance in 2021 when I graduated from University of Edinburgh with a PhD in software engineering. So once I joined ByteDance, we were working actually on automated GUI testing, and we built a very small team to try, if we can use AI to generate the code. And I was the third engineer in the team, and at the time it was called Codeverse, and our new boss changed the name to Trae, the real AI engineer. So currently I'm working on the research branch of Trae. So I lead a very small, not very small, but a small research team on like ARM training and agentic like AI agents for coding and ARM evaluation. So To answer the question, during the weekend, I'm actually working on a project called Trae Agent, which is the open source AI agent for coding. And if you are familiar with Subagent, the benchmark for like how AI can perform in software engineering, you can see that we are actually ranked the first place in the benchmark. No matter if you turn open source or closed source, we are the first place, and we make the scaffold open sourced a month ago, and we are very happy to see that like even if we didn't put much effort on advertising it, we got like close to 9,000 stars just during 2 weeks after launching it. So if you the Trae agent is not going to compete with like Cloud Code or like Gemini CRI, but it is a pure research project, and I think it is a good starting point to learn about how AI agent works on software engineering tasks.
Thank you. Let's get into some practical best practices. Paxton, right now, LLMs still have a limited context window. And when you run out of the context window, or you have to try to get your source space in the context window, you start to run into failures. Do you have any best practices for managing your context in a agentic AI coding environment?
Absolutely. Well, first off, we just launched a 1 million token context window in Opus, so we're really excited to play around with that. But two, there's a lot of tools specifically within Claude Code to help manage memory. I'm constantly updating, and a hack here is you can use the # to deploy things back into your Claude.md file, and it'll save that as a future task. So that's one thing. The other is Claude Code will automatically compress its memory as you get close to using up your context window. You can allow it to do it kind of its own volition, but I strongly recommend people strategically think about when they're ready for a compaction and what they want the model to retain. And you can save a lot of information into the Claude.md file. When I'm building out a project, I'll often save the entire architecture. I've got a bunch of rules that I want it to follow up top. One of my personal pet peeves is when Claude, I'm trying to ask me the question, but it'll just start changing things in my code and I don't want it to. And so I often tell it, don't change anything unless I've explicitly said yes. Plan first, review the plan, give me the highest confidence plan you have in terms of an implementation strategy. And then when I say, okay, yes, go, then just do that. I've also found there's some like fun, funny kind of tricks. For example, at the end of my Claude code prompts, if I just say don't break anything and don't change anything else, it performs much better. So treat it as though it was a very junior engineer, or yourself as a novice, and it will perform much more clearly and concisely in your projects.
I often run into problems with automatic context compaction. Can we turn that off?
There are some ways, but we'll find me after and we can do it.
Michele, what is the limit of AI coding in the enterprise? Is it ready for enterprise-grade software development?
It depends. I would say, first of all, we have Replit customers that are running internal tools built on our agent in the enterprise setting. So yes, it can be done. There are food guns that all the coding agents are exposing, and not only Replit. I think it's a common problem of coding agents per se. The fact that whenever you're building something from the enterprise, the only thing that matters is not exclusively code. There are many other things that are important. How do you deploy? How do you think of data governance, security, and so forth? So at Replit, we are trying to build all this constellation of tools around the agent per se that help you to avoid all the pitfalls that you should be avoiding in the enterprise. I think it's gonna be a journey, like it has been with any other technology. It's gonna take us maybe like a few years to become as good as the enterprise expects us to be. But the trajectory is clear, and already today we have success stories. So I think it's sort of a matter for us to keep adding additional tools around, and also making sure the agent knows when to recommend the users to use them. Like when to use the database, when to roll back, when to back up, and so forth.
What's wrong with it just asking for enterprise-grade software?
To the agent?
Yes.
You should ask. Absolutely.
You may or may not get it. That's the short answer. There's so many ways, and I think Professor Yang did a great job of kind of laying out where the edges of our capability are and the skill set. There really is an art to using these things. It is a skill set. It's a tool. You gotta figure out how to play it, just like the piano. But if you do a good job of isolating the areas of your code base that it's working on, you put the right frameworks and limitations around your different subagents, which we can get into later, it really can produce great code. And I will say anecdotally, our research team, I've talked to a lot of them, and they say they haven't written a line of code on their own in like a year plus. So internally, people are fully using it for deployed code.
Chao, what are some best practices for managing bugs with AI-generated software?
Oh, this is a good question. So, I think I agree with the Paxton's said. Yeah. So we should treat AI agents as juniors of engineer. So I think the best way to manage bugs is to prevent them. So we should first utilize the memory or the rules in a better way. Like we can put in what are the design decisions for these projects. What was the key evolution strategy for this project, and maybe also some best practices for writing code in this project. And also, I think we, as the junior software engineer, we should make the task as autumn as possible. We shouldn't give it like the entire or arbitrary prompt. Let's say just build a game and you don't say what to do next. Maybe we can ask it to do it by step by step. And also, we should ask the agent to write tests. So if we have tests for like corner cases or the most important parts, it is easier for us to debug with it, because we have the whole traceback after the test fails, and it is easier for the agent to localize the bug.
Thank you. Paxton, what are some of your favorite tools that you like Claude Code users to be aware of?
Well, I can give you the generic ones of, MCP servers and things like that. But the ones that I find I use the most are, the memory Claude.md, switching easily using the exclamation point to get into bash from within Claude Code as opposed to spinning up. I'd say the area that I'm spending the most time playing around is with subagents. If you guys aren't familiar with that, I'm sure many of you are, but it's a really powerful way of dividing out your work. And I think the theme that you're seeing across the three of us is, creating very discrete tasks for Claude, not giving it carte blanche to rewrite your entire product. But, okay, this is you're a product manager, you're a test engineer, write your tests, you're a backend, you're a front end. And so what I'm working towards building in my own free time is kind of a full, team of Claude developers essentially that can work in unison. And that's been a really, really cool thing. When I talk to our experts inside, they have 12 Claude agents all running on different parts of the code base all at the same time in parallel and orchestrating. And I think you're going to see a lot more development in the multi-agent orchestration sector. That's kind of the next frontier for capability.
Thank you. Michaela, what are the barriers right now for everyone to use AI for coding, and how is Replit working on removing these barriers?
The barriers are very low if you think about it. The fact that Replit and also code we're growing extremely fast, and means that the technology has become so accessible that it's all a matter of how curious you are as a person. If you want to become, if you want to have your 0 to 1 experience in creating code in life. Those barriers appear much later in the process. This would be related to the question you asked me before, when you want to take an application and bring it in production, when you want to deploy it within your enterprise and comply to all the security requirements. Those are the barriers that we're trying to one by one to crush with Replit. So we make the experience of deploying a one-click experience. So everything is very well connected with our agent. You don't have to think about how many users are going to be in front of your app, because we auto-scale it for you. You could go from 1 user a month to 1 million. You will not even realize that. Same thing with databases, same thing with all the different cloud services that are usually needed to create an application. they all become part of this experience in a seamless way. And I would say, like many apps, I think the first 80% can be accomplished quite quickly. And that's why I think, we experience this very fast growth as a company. And then we're going to be working on the long tail for a long, long time. And I think this is very common also, for software engineers in startups. Creating the first MVP, getting several product market fit is relatively easy. You can get there fast if the idea is good. And then the moment you really start to scale, that's where a lot of the complexity of the software shows up. And, I think all of us that are building coding agents, over time, we're going to realize what are the best practices. Oftentimes when I'm, coming and talk in front of builders, I tell them very openly, I don't think I realize as a playbook on how to build agents today. Like, we're discovering it together. I think that's why it's so exciting to have these kind of events, because people build in public, we can share ideas. And I'm going to talk to all of you today and find out what's broken so that we can fix it.
Thank you. Chao, test-driven development was brought up about, it was talked about a lot about a decade ago. I don't think it really took off, but do you think that we should reconsider using test-driven development with AI-assisted coding workflows?
When I was doing my PhD, so I was actually working on software testing, and so we were calling for, you should write tests before writing the code, but nobody listened to us. Yeah. But now I think AI agent is a very good assistant or our colleague to help us to write tests. So from our experience on Subagent, so we looked at why AI agents are good at solving problems for specific GitHub issues, and we also surveyed not only us but other solutions for Subagent, what are the issues that can be solved by all of us. And we found that if the issue has very descriptive description, and also it has instructions on how to reproduce bug, and it is best if it can provide you with a reproduction example, which is kind of like a test case, and AI agents tend to stop them correctly and fast. So yeah, I think that is a very strong a back on why we should write tests for our code. And also when we are working with AI agents to develop our code, if we have tests, if the code has some problem, we can just use the test failure as the information for the AI agent to fix the problem. And I think this is a very good loop to collaborate with AI agents.
Yes, I always feel. Oh, sorry. Yes.
No, I was just gonna add, I think you're touching on a really important aspect of what these things are enabling. We talk a lot about the generation side of this. There's also the asking or understanding side of this. And I find that I will just put, my Copilot or Cursor in ask mode and ask it questions about how my code base works, where there are issues, and it's teaching me, how to understand what we are building together, but also how to become a better software engineer and use the tools better. So I think, to the point of education and testing, it's really a two-way communication, not just generation, but also trying to understand.
Yeah, and also in addition to generation, I think verification is also important in the area of AI coding. We have a lot of code written by AI. How to verify them, how to ask others to merge the code written by AI is very important.
Do you all think that tests, or maybe you could, one way to think about tests are very detailed specs, technical specs? Do you think the IP of engineers is going to be trending towards specs rather than the code if we think that AI can code so fast, so easily?
I think it's really the case.
Yeah.
Yeah. The more you grow as an engineer in your career, the more you write specs rather than code. But that's where the important insights are, understanding exactly what you want to build. So I think we're really there to an extent.
I agree. Well, we have about 100 builders that are going to spend the whole day today building 6 different projects, all in different domains, using different tools. Do you all have any advice for everyone here that you had to read before we get kicked off in about 10 minutes?
Just someone cut my mic when I said that. I said I got to use Replit. Jokes aside, I think we gave everyone membership earlier this morning. So use Cloud Code, it's fine.
You use Trae so longer.
Thank you all.